So I was in my Discord server the other day asking people what they thought the best isekai anime of all time was. I already knew what the consensus answer would be, but I asked anyway. Pretty much everyone said ReZero, and the other answer I hear all the time is Mushoku Tensei, and to be fair, I think those are probably the two best isekai ever made. But what about the rest of them? Why do so many other great isekai series get almost no love when these conversations happen? So that's what this video is about. I want to give some appreciation to the other isekai anime that deserve some respect, because while the genre definitely has its fair share of trash, it also has some genuinely incredible series in the mix. And if you enjoy videos like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on notifications for more. With all that being said, let's get into this. Starting off with a series that gets way more hate than it deserves in my opinion, Sword Art Online. This was one of the first anime I ever watched, and I'm not going to talk about Dragon Ball Z or Naruto because those are the gateway anime for almost everyone. The first anime I really went out of my way to watch were Fairy Tail and Sword Art Online. I remember reading the description and being absolutely hooked. Thousands of people log into an MMORPG only to discover they're trapped inside of a game. If they die in the game, they die in real life? At the time, that premise absolutely blew my mind. Maybe there were other series that did it before Sword Art Online did, but to my knowledge, this was the first time I had ever seen anything like this. Of course, SAO has some tropes that people criticize. There are some later arcs that aren't my favorite. Kirito and Asuna became one of anime's most iconic couples for a reason. Although SAO isn't primarily a romance anime, their relationship feels more developed than a lot of actual romance series relationships are. And while it may not reach the heights of something like Attack on Titan or Death Note, it's still incredibly entertaining, and it had a massive impact on anime and the isekai genre as a whole. The later seasons are hit or miss for me. The first season, especially the Aincrad part, it is something special to this day. So SAO deserves way more respect than it gets. Next is a series that I absolutely love, bro, the Eminence In Shadow. This anime is ridiculous in the best way possible. The action is great, the comedy lands consistently, and Sid Kagano is one of the best protagonists in the genre. Badass and funny. For anyone who hasn't seen it, Sid dies and gets reincarnated into another world, right? But unlike most isekai protagonists, his dream isn't to become a hero. His dream is to become the mysterious mastermind lurking in the shadows behind the scenes. The problem of it, well, I'd say the joke, is that almost everything he makes up as part of his roleplay turns out to be real. Shadow Garden, his organization, the Cult of Diablos, the organization that they're going against. All these grand conspiracies he thinks he's inventing for fun is actually going on in this world. Meanwhile, everyone around him believes he's a genius who plans 10 steps ahead, when in reality he's just making things up as he goes. That's what makes the series so funny to me. Sid can decide he wants to be a background character one day, a secret agent the next day, or the final boss of the world after that, and he will commit to every bit every single time. And somehow, it just always works no matter what. The action scenes are also some of the best you'll find in isekai anime as a whole. I Am Atomic, every time he does it, it's fucking awesome, bro. I think it's great. I genuinely think that this series deserves to be mentioned alongside the biggest names in the genre. Another series that gets overlooked way too often is Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy. The premise alone is hilarious as hell. Makoto Misumi, he gets summoned to another world to become a hero, like in a lot of isekai. But the goddess who summoned him took one look at him and basically said, "You're too ugly for this." So she stripped him of all of his abilities, his hero status, and tossed him aside. That is still one of the funniest setups I've ever seen. Most isekai protags get summoned and immediately become the chosen one, but Makoto gets rejected before he even gets started doing anything. But he does receive blessings from a higher deity, he gains incredible power and begins building a life for himself. What I love the most about this series is Makoto himself, probably. He's a genuine good guy, but he's not afraid to get his hands dirty when necessary. He cares deeply about the people around him, and especially about the community that he builds. His followers, Tomoe and Mio, are both incredibly powerful and entertaining. Watching their group grow over time is one of the most satisfying parts of the series. Makoto isn't really trying to conquer the world, he's just trying to create a peace where everyone in his group can live peacefully. And if someone threatens that peace, he is not afraid to get his hands dirty. Once again, he will kill people. Now, we have what I consider the funniest anime ever made, Konosuba, no debate. The moment Kazuma died, I knew this series was going to be great. Most isekai treat the reincarnation scene as something dramatic or emotional, Konosuba turns it into one of the funniest moments in anime. Instead of picking some legendary weapon or overpowered ability, Kazuma chooses Aqua, and from that point, everything becomes chaos. Aqua, Megumin, Darkness, and Kazuma might be one of the greatest comedy groups I've ever seen in an anime. They're all incredibly talented in one area and completely useless in another one, and that's what makes them work. The series constantly pokes fun at common isekai tropes while still somehow being one of the best isekai stories out there. Every season, every movie, and every spin-off has been great and hilarious. My only complaint about the entire series is that we have to wait so long every time. The novels are all finished, just give us the rest of the show. What is going on? Next up is Overlord. This is one of the anime that completely surprised me. For years I heard people talk about Ainz and power scaling debates surrounding him, but I never got around to watching the show. Then one day I finally decided to start it, and I was hooked immediately. The premise is fascinating, right? When his favorite MMORPG shuts down, Momonga finds himself trapped inside the game as his character Ainz. The NPCs that he and his friends created have become living beings, and they all worship him like a god, essentially. But what makes Overlord different is that Ainz isn't the hero. He's more of a villain. Everything he does is for Nazarick, that's his place of course, and the people he cares about. And honestly, from his perspective, that makes perfect sense. The humans are trying to protect their kingdoms, and Ainz is trying to protect Nazarick and his family. The difference is that his family happens to be a castle full of monsters. Albedo is great, Shaltir is great, they're both hot, all of the Guardians are memorable, and watching them interact with Ainz is a great part of the series for me. The fights are fun, but what really keeps me invested is seeing how the rest of the world reacts to Nazarick's overwhelming power. Overlord gives us a protagonist who slowly becomes the very thing most heroes would try to defeat. And that's what makes it so interesting to me. Before I get to my final pick, I want to shout out a few other great isekai anime. The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic is extremely underrated. The World's Finest Assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat is another one that I really enjoyed. Spirit Chronicles is worth checking out, even if season 2 wasn't as strong for me. And finally, Trapped in a Dating Sim. It's a fantastic show. I've literally made a video about it on my channel, about how much I like it and how funny it is.
Give me a reason to forgive if I am strong enough. It's black and white, this message is for you.
Finally, we have That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Was there any question that would be talked about in this video? I honestly forgot how good this series was until I started catching up again. This anime is absolutely incredible. Rimuru is one of the best protagonists in the genre. He starts as what should be one of the weakest monsters imaginable, a slime. Yet through intelligence, leadership, and just genuine kindness, he builds an entire nation. What makes him special isn't his strength, even though that is a big thing. It's the way people follow him. He's compassionate, he's fair, he wants monsters and humans to coexist peacefully. But when people threaten his friends, that's where the line gets crossed. One of the most powerful moments in the series, spoilers, even if minor, by the way coming, is when Rimuru becomes a demon lord. To achieve that power, he sacrifices 20,000 soldiers in order to resurrect the comrades he lost. It's a dark moment, but it shows how far he's willing to go to protect the people that he cares about. The world building is also phenomenal. Honestly, I think Slime has some of the best world building in all of Isekai. I remember people complaining about Season 3 because there wasn't enough fighting and too many meetings. But that's exactly why I love the series personally. Those conversations really matter. They're building nations, forming alliances, and shaping the future of the world that they're in. The story isn't just about who can punch the hardest, it's about leadership, diplomacy, and creating something lasting. That's what makes Slime stand out over all those other series. I originally avoided the series because of the title. I thought there was no way an anime about reincarnating as a slime could actually be good. I was wrong, and I'm sure many other people were too. It's a masterpiece, brother. Yes, I know I didn't spend any time talking about ReZero or Mushoku Tensei, so I will talk about this a little bit in the closing statements. Honestly, do they even need the extra praise? We already know how amazing they are. ReZero Season 4 is going on. It's a top 5 anime ever for me, not just including Isekai. Like 5 episodes from Season 4 got almost 10 out of 10 ratings. Subaru is easily one of my favorite protagonists in anime, and regardless of how people feel about certain aspects of Mushoku Tensei, the emotional writing in that series is phenomenal. Those two are already considered the kings of the genre to me. I wanted to give some attention to other series that deserved it though, because while Isekai gets a lot of criticism, there are also many genuine great stories out there hidden within the genre. Even though the series I talked about are pretty well known, people just don't talk about them when it comes to the best of the best to me. But that's really it for my list. Let me know what your favorite isekai anime of all time is down in the comments below, because I know there are plenty great shows that I didn't list. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.